We're fortunate that our Modesto native George Lucas made a movie about our town, which is amazing. And so we're celebrating that spirit. And more importantly, we're telling the story behind all the people and the cars. Hopefully inside this building, we're going to recreate that night during the late 50s and early 60s where we'll take you back to 1962. The music, the cars, the street. So you walk into an immersive experience that brings you to an old Modesto with the rock and roll, the diner. We have a functional diner going on in here. We want to have a classic car shop, educational exhibits that teach people all about what the cruise was, celebrate, more importantly, the legends of the cruise. These are the people in our town that we're basically the people that George wrote about in his movie. So we want to celebrate those people here in our community. And I think people will come from all over the world to check it out. I mean, American Graffiti is one of the top 100 movies of all time. And people already come to Modesto looking for that classic graffiti experience. We have Graffiti Summer. And so now this can be just home base. And so we hope that when people come to Modesto, they come here first. This is a long time coming. A lot of us on this committee have been talking about doing a graffiti museum for years, and it was never the right place, the right time, or the right group of people. And in the last year and a half, the right group got together, the right group of donors, the right group of volunteers, and then this piece of property just basically became available that's right here on the old 99. I mean, the old drive-ins in downtown Modesto were on this old highway right here. So we figure it's a lot of legitimacy to be here on old US 99. It's a great old building that'll let us really recreate that ambiance of creating a city street inside and then really making an experience that it's not just for the boomers or the classic car people, but it's for the kids. You know, I go to Disneyland a lot and you walk down Cars Land and it's that cool retro experience, but I believe people want authenticity in their community. And I think when they see this, and this is what Modesto is all about, it brings a good story for what our town is. And it's really who we are. We were the birthplace of rockabilly music back early. We're the birthplace of the graffiti cruise. And I think that means a lot, whether you're a 10-year-old, a 22-year-old, young professional, having a city that you visit have authenticity means a lot. And I think this Graffiti USA Museum will really bring an authentic story to Modesto. I think it'll take graffiti into the next generation because I think, you know, a lot of kids view the role of a car differently now. And I think car museums, just straight car museums, are having a hard time. But when you create an experience like a cafe or a restaurant, or that you actually immerse yourself into the time, I think it can be really successful. And I think the retro, I mean, you go to the new bars right now, all the new bars like 1890s makeries, you go to the old Hollywood bars and they have old 1932 bowling alleys. So I think there's a lot of interest in the history of a community and what it really was. They want to know, where's the old stuff? Because having a good history means you have a successful future because you have a story to tell. You're gonna walk into this and it's 40,000 square feet. And it's 20,000 square feet. Each one of these wings is 20,000 square feet. So we hope to create a street-like experience in each one of them with, of course, a visitor center, the functional diner, but we also intend to have an event center for big parties, and we also want to have an educational center, team up with the local colleges, and also team up with maybe a vocational school where we have the vocational kids run the diner. So we're actually teaching people how to be in the restaurant business because Modesto has a great culinary scene. And right now, I mean, if we could teach and educate kids how to be in the restaurant business, that just serves the community as well, besides being a great place to have a burger, fries, and shake. We are looking for every donation we can get. We are all investors in this. We've all put our own personal money in it. We're also going to be reaching out for grants, opportunities out there. We're going to be looking for donations from the class of 62, the class of 45, the class of 2010. I mean, so as people realize they can invest in their community, we want to capture, and there are naming opportunities. So for the right price, you can name this wing part of your family. So those things can happen as well. And so we're looking for any opportunity. We're looking for volunteers, time, treasure, everything. Modesto already gets visitors from all over the world during Graffiti Summer. I had a fun story. I went to Durban, South Africa to meet up with an event we did. I walked in, introduced myself from Modesto, USA, and they go, "Oh my gosh, American Graffiti, I know what your town is." So I think that people from all over the world have a fascination with the classic car. And I think our story is something that means a lot, not only in California, but Australia, the UK, and I think people will bring that visit here, and now we're going to have something to show them. We are convinced that, we serve on some travel and tourism boards. Modesto needs a destination event that brings people here, where there's something you can see that turns us into a day trip to an overnight trip. And that means all the difference in the world, and not just a place you pass through, but I think this Graffiti USA Museum will make us a destination spot. Because we have a lot of other hometown characters like Royal Robbins, our culinary scene, the Gallo Center for the Arts, that make downtown Modesto a really wonderful experience. Oh man, we want people to go to Modesto. We want people to go to graffitiusamuseum.com, sign up, volunteer, donate, tell a friend, and also let people know that Modesto, USA is a really cool city. We've got a great heritage, and I think it's something we can build on for the future, and I think people will be excited.
And I just see this as a huge, huge opportunity for us as a city to showcase a big part of our city's history, the graffiti history in Modesto, and what Modesto is about. We have an annual graffiti parade that brings in upwards of 1,400 cars from around the world for a parade down our McHenry Boulevard every year. And this is a destination, worldwide destination for many people. And I think that this will play right into that and be a huge part of offering something year-round in our city that will draw people worldwide. This will give us an opportunity to be able to showcase Modesto on a daily basis, 365 days of the year. So yes, it's very special. I mean, it's a part of all of our lives in this valley is the cruising, and so we've all experienced it. We've all been a part of it. And I think they just want to keep it alive. We want to keep it alive for the future. So many times we deal with the negative, yes, but this is a positive thing. This will, again, showcase our city on a positive basis and show all the many of the great things that our city, the city of Modesto, is about. What I will be doing is handling the architecture for the project and development of the designs and the visions, and it's not necessarily my vision. It's the vision of the people involved in the project that I want to bring to life in this building here. And it is a great building with great structure, great bones to work with, and we can achieve what we want to achieve in this building here. It comes from a desire to help put Modesto on the map for good things.
It's a big deal. It's Chris, you talked to him and you talked to the mayor, but Chris and I had personally been probably 20 years thinking about opening a museum and that, and he and I about 5-6 years ago looked at some buildings that we were going to purchase and turn them into a museum, graffiti museum and that, with a food element in it and that. However, what happened is about 2 years ago, a group of us went back to Okoboji, Iowa, and we saw a graffiti museum, a classic car museum. And it was privately built, and the gentleman built it with his own funds and that. It's about 80,000 square feet. And so when we came away from that, we said, we've been thinking way too small all these years and that, and we decided we'd put a whole group of people together and we would start looking for something more appropriate, much larger than that, 40, 50,000 square feet. And so that kind of got us jump-started on the project, and that we had a clear vision of what it was that we wanted. We didn't want just a big building that we could put cars in and say, come look at these classic cars. What we saw, because what they did at Okoboji is they had these street scenes of things that had existed in the 50s and 60s, and it's like, wow, that's really transformative. That means more than just showing people, classic cars and that kind of thing. That all of a sudden the heritage was not just the car portion of it, but it was the history of the community in that. And so from that, the more work we put into it, we said, well, we would actually have a food service part of this, which the Okoboji doesn't have, and that we would then also have an operating kind of a garage in that, to where we could partner with the MJC, which is our local college here, and or our high school vocational training schools in that, both from the restaurant food service side and from the automotive side. And so we started adding those components with the educational component, working with Stanislaus County School and that to get them excited about that opportunity. And so the more we worked on this, the more we thought, this is the kind of project that we wanted. The Okoboji Museum had, as you see behind me, there's another large room, and which will have cars and which will have street scenes also, or murals, but it can be converted into an event center. And so that event center would hold around 700 people. And in that, we will show, as Okoboji does, we will show like a drive-in theater, we will show movies of the era, particularly American Graffiti and other car-related kinds of movies in that. But then the event center would be able to be rented out for nonprofit organizations, for weddings, anniversaries, just all kinds of different events. And we've already had people that have asked us, can they go ahead and book events and that starting in September, because we believe our goal is that we'd really like to open the first phase of this, by Graffiti Summer, which would be June and that. And the event center, even though looks like it's phase 5, it would be part of phase 1. So as Chris had mentioned earlier, what we're going to do in the opening area is to have the welcome center, and that we would also have the event center and that. And then the educational piece of it becomes really, really important also. I happen to have a 66 Mustang that's fully converted in that. And one of the questions has been, well, how about the young people? The young people don't understand this. They don't really care about this. Well, I actually have 3 college-age grandchildren, and they live in Roseville, and they come down for the cruise, and they drive my car in the parade and that. And so all of them said, Grandpa, don't ever sell that car. We want that car. Well, it's not just the nostalgia, because I really think that it has an economic development component to it. Being the president and CEO of the chamber, we were all about economic development and creating jobs and having people come to our community and understanding not just the history and that, but we're an agricultural based community, which is really huge in that. But the town has grown up. I mean, it's almost 250,000 people. When I went to college here, it was like 30,000 people in that. And so, that the history from the 60s, to now is really important. The economic development that's occurred, the kinds of job creation and that's occurred here. And so it's really important to when we're recruiting businesses to come here and for people to live here, that they understand the culture, they understand the background of the community and that, and they understand the economics of what makes things work. So I happen to be on a couple of committees, starting out when I was in the chamber of tourism and that, both with the county and with the city and that. And basically our committees see this being really, really important to adding more tourism. We have the Gallo Center for the Arts, which happened about 10, 15 years ago, and that's become a really important component, and that we believe that this will become very similar to that in a year-round type event for people to come, but also a learning center, because one of the things in the educational component is for the youth to understand, how does a combustion engine work? And then we would take them through that history of the combustion engine and how all the things that make that work, but all the way through the electric cars today and how they work and that. So we'll add all of those educational components. Absolutely. And once they come to Modesto, they'll see that we are a very desirable community in that. And hopefully they'll want to bring their businesses here.